Right on the viewing area outside the Venetian. It looks like a mini grandstand. And over at the Bellagio, grandstands are looking done. We didn't see any crews working on the outside. This is Taylor Warren and Tim Brown's very first trip to Las Vegas. They are here from Montana.
A lot of feet walking, so my feet are sore.
But she researched a new F1 would be in town, and it did not deter them from coming.
I think it's pretty cool.
Looking around a little more, and you can see some big cranes over at the Mirage as the hotel casino is transforming to the Hard Rock with a guitar-shaped building on the way. And here's a look at where cars will race down Koval.
It's amazing. My brother is actually a huge race car guy, so I've been sending them pictures and kind of rubbing it in.
I think it's pretty cool that they are going to do it right in the middle of the city. It's pretty awesome, and we saw a lot of the cool cars in the wind last night, so we love it. We're just, we didn't know that it was happening while we were going to be here, so we're actually leaving right before, so we're a little bummed.
But the F1 vibe got Rachel and Brian thinking.
So we were actually like, do we stay another night? Can we figure out a way to make this happen?
If they can just get someone to watch their Great Dane, they will be watching the race action starting on Thursday. And here's a look at the F1 lighting, which is all ready to go along this trip. Now, we did hear from another couple that didn't know F1 was in town. They wanted to stay as well, but said it just wasn't going to happen. They did not give enough notice as far as work goes. But as we've seen today, basically the strip and F1 ready to go for the people who will be here. Reporting along the strip, Joe Behill, Fox 5 News, local, Las Vegas.
You may start to see some low-flying helicopters tomorrow ahead of the F1 race. The Department of Energy's Nuclear Security Administration will conduct helicopter flights over the strip and the race route. The choppers are measuring for background radiation, all making sure it's safe for people on the ground during the event.
The man responsible for making sure F1 goes off safely is used to high-profile events like the Super Bowl, as well as last year's F1. Metro Sheriff Kevin McMahill shares with Fox 5 some of the new technology and tactics that will come into play this week.
Do you feel you are ready for this?
I am in a much better place as far as readiness than I was the first year. But listen, I'm going to just be completely candid with you. We know Las Vegas is a target. It always has been. And what I will tell you is that I plan for every single one of these special events that we have on our strip like it's going to be attacked or something is going to happen. We treat F1 very similar to what we do with New Year's Eve. The planning for both of those events starts within weeks of them actually ending from the year prior.
Are there any credible threats being investigated?
I wouldn't say there's any credible threats that are being investigated, but I will tell you that there's always persons of interest that we're paying attention to whenever Las Vegas is in the spotlight of a national event that people are paying. And in this case, this is an international event, right? People all around the world are tuning in to watch what happens in these races. We're constantly paying attention to all of those threats that emerge, not only through our federal partnerships, but through my own counterterrorism section that we have.
Will people notice anything different, or is this something where you try to kind of blend in with the crowds?
No. It's a really interesting question. I try to have a really highly visible presence of our officers, but also in this case, we're partnering with about 1,200 private security officers. So we want them to have a very visible presence for deterrence, number one. But also number two is if you think you're going to get away with something, you know you're not, because you're not going to go 5 feet without seeing a cop, right? And so, but let me just tell you this part, without exposing too much, there's a whole lot of people that are police officers and law enforcement in and amongst those crowds that you're not going to know that are law enforcement.
Any new technology being deployed?
Lots of technology being deployed. So I think the question keeps getting asked about, am I going to be flying drones? You know, I have a new drone as a first responder program. We can't have other people flying drones over the raceway for obvious reasons, so we have drone mitigation technology that we have out there. Lots of technology that we're using in it. It's just a force multiplier, and as you well know, I know you've seen our real-time crime center, but thousands of public safety cameras that are down there, license plate readers, all the things that we have in our toolbox are being utilized to keep the community safe during this time.
Sheriff McMahill says there were 70 things that needed to be addressed after last year's F1, and he says they have addressed them all. He says they'll do a similar assessment after the Grand Prix wraps up this weekend.
A person's recovering this afternoon.